Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. If you guys could subscribe here, that'd be great. If you guys also could subscribe to the Tobin and Leroy Show on the 560WQAM YouTube page. We're live every single weekday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you guys watch live, you guys can interact in on the chat. We have fun. It gets silly. Heat getting ready for Game 2 of their first-round series against the Boston Celtics. I'm sure everybody is being reasonable today out there in Heatland because of the Tyrese Maxey winning Most Improved Player. And everybody's just shouting, "Precious Achua," to the sky. And look, Maxey's been awesome. Maxey has been an unbelievable story for them to what he's been doing. I will say it did sting a little extra. I had never seen the clip that was going around today of Maxey saying that D Wade was his favorite player. I don't think that I had. I don't recall seeing that clip. But the fact that he had gone on this story, I guess it was a couple of years old, about D Wade being his favorite player. And then D Wade posting on his Instagram, now one of my favorite players. I was like, ugh. Second day in a row. First, I had to watch Dame go and give 35 to the Pacers and think, ugh. And now I have to do this with Tyrese Maxey doing what he did. And it was a tough one. It was a tough one to swallow for sure. And the funny thing is, I actually like Precious Achua when he was on the Heat. I thought that it was very similar to Jovic, right? Like, comes in young, as the year went on, just got less and less playing time. Spo had always clashed with him about, like, playing that kind of balls to the wall, off the bench big moments. And, it didn't work out. Obviously, it was in the Kyle Lowry trade. That sucked. Because you lost Precious, you lost Goran. You got from Kyle what you could get from Kyle, and now look, Kyle and Tyrese Maxey are on the same team. Full circle. I did feel like the Heat got devastating news today, though, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this. But I had said when this injury had happened to Duncan Robinson that I thought this was honestly one of the biggest blows. This was before the Jimmy Butler injury. But I thought that Duncan Robinson not being Duncan Robinson and what he's dealing with was honestly one of the biggest blows to the Heat roster this year. He had been so important, so critical. And you had talked, you talk about ins and outs with Spo. Like, you think about where Duncan Robinson has been to where he's come back to with Eric Spoelstra as far as necessity for the team and importance to the team. And that, he had gone from basically Inspo's doghouse out of the rotation, replaced by Max Strus, to come back this year and be incredible. I think he got like a few votes on Most Improved Player, but not having him be the Duncan Robinson that he was for the most of this year has been a real damper on the Miami Heat. And I had wondered going into Game 2, would the Heat counter with any starting lineup change? I was talking with Leroy about this, and we were discussing, is there something to putting Duncan in the starting lineup, replacing Jaime or Caleb with him? Because I know they weren't going to replace Tyler. And you really can't with no Terry Rozier. You can't put Tyler on the bench yet. So was there something to that? And listening to Duncan today, it doesn't really sound like that. He doesn't sound like he's 100%. He's given the team what he can. He says, available is available. But he also has said this, which is basically, this isn't going to get better until I get extended rest.
I mean, yeah, rest helps, with any sort of coming back from any sort of thing. Probably won't feel totally myself until I get an extended rest. But yeah, like you said, that's what this time of year calls for.
That was a bit of a gut punch for a couple. First of all, the Miami Heat being in the situation that they are, but hearing him say, like, I'm not going to be myself till we get extended rest, and yeah, that's just, it's tough. You look at a series like this where you're going to need 3-point shooting, right? Like, we're all talking about the math issue that the Heat are facing. And not having a Duncan Robinson at your disposal is tough, because Duncan Robinson is one of those guys who, when healthy, can hit 6 from downtown, could have a crazy game from downtown. And now being in this spot where it's like, yeah, he can, you have two guys right now in Kevin Love and Duncan Robinson, who are awesome, but Kevin Love is basically a 15-minute a game guy, amazing 15 minutes, and then Duncan Robinson seems like he's about a 15-minute a game guy. And so when it comes to that, then you become extra reliant on Tyler Hero to hit you a bunch of threes. And if he's not hitting threes, can you actually have any shot against the Celtics? You see my point. It's a bit of a damper on things. So that was definitely a disheartening update from Duncan Robinson, and hopeful that he can still perform on the days where maybe he wakes up and it feels good. But the idea that he is still dealing with something like this sucks flat out. Although some good news for the Miami Heat in Bam Adebayo, who was named a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, which was really cool. I'm happy because I don't think he's going to win. I think it'll end up going to Rudy Gobert. But I honestly, throughout all the year, he wasn't even in like the top 3 odds all year for the betting. So I was a little pleasantly surprised that he had made this push to get to Defensive Player of the Year. I know Anthony Davis made a whole dog and pony show about it. He was upset about it, and then he got cooked by the Nuggets like the Lakers tend to do. But he's really, I mean, Bam has been the anchor to everything they do defensively. And this is one of those matchups where it's like, it's tough because like, where do you utilize that weapon against this barrage from the Boston Celtics? But he's most certainly deserving. And I think I saw Cooper Moorhead from Heat.com say this probably puts him on a track towards the first team all defense, which the fact that he's never been that is really crazy. And so I'm really happy that he's going to be in that position to get that award. And speaking of Bam, this was a little bit of an interesting thing. I'll leave you with this. So Adrian Wojnarowski, this was at the play-in game, and he had this to say in regards to the Miami Heat's upcoming summer.
And so Miami is always in great position because, especially if it's players with not a lot left on their contract, 1 year or 2 years, and they tell their team, I want to trade to the Heat, and if you don't send me the Heat, I'm going to become a free agent and go somewhere else. Don't trade me to that team or that team. Now, teams can still decide to send you where they want to send you, but it's always an advantage for Miami. Players want to be part of that organization. And so I think Miami will be in a position again to use the assets they have to go out and get another all-star level player that maybe connects more on the timeline of Bam Adebayo and his age.
So there you go. That was from the pregame on Friday. I was boots on the ground, so I didn't see that, but I saw some people tweeting about that. What I find interesting about what Woj said is mentioning on the timeline of Bam Adebayo. Now, maybe he's doing that. I didn't see the back and forth again. I saw this perusing Twitter, so if somebody else on the panel said something that bounced back, you guys can let me know about this. But I thought it interesting that he said that. I don't know if he's mentioning Bam there because Jimmy was out, and so they're just promoting Bam, or does Woj hear something of like the Miami Heat are going to go in the Bam Adebayo direction in the summer, where wherever this seemingly ends, whenever this season ends, is that the plan? Is the plan to go in Bam Adebayo's direction, right? Like the guy just entering his prime, 27 years old, extension eligible. We know that the organization thinks the world of him. Most available player. The Heat had a lot of durability issues this year. Even he was playing. I think this is one of the things I think the Heat really respect with him, and Jaime too. When you talk about best condition, toughest, nastiest, all that stuff. The idea that you play through something and still make yourself available, even if you're not 100%. And they got two other parts of the team in Jimmy Butler, who's obviously very tough, and I'm not questioning Jimmy's toughness because, the dude played on a damn sprained MCL, but definitely has availability issues during the regular season. And then you have Tyler Hero, who has now also had availability issues in the postseason, in the regular season. Is that the turn that he go? Are they done playing this game of getting guys who are not regularly available? Now, if the plan is, hey, go get Bam's buddy Donovan Mitchell from Cleveland, he's also had his own injury issues that he's had to deal with. But I found it interesting Woj throws that nugget out there and says on the timeline of Bam Adebayo. Made me pause a little bit to think, all right, that seems like a shift from we're going to build and get Jimmy Butler some help to, oh, now the national spotlight is saying, oh, no. We're going to try and get somebody to pair up with Bam. You know, Defensive Player of the Year finalist, going to get this massive extension likely in the summer. I found that to be pretty intriguing. But, you know, first task at hand, playoffs.